I got Mike here. So, oh boy, another green day. So that is 2 in a row. And I am not a super smart man, and nor am I an analyst, but I'm just saying there seems to be a positive correlation between the White House and the administration not saying anything about tariffs during market hours and green days so far. Didn't say anything Friday about tariffs, got a green day. Didn't say anything about tariffs today, right? Got a green day. Because 2 days in a row, what they did was they rolled those folks out over the weekend. They started talking about that reset and how we ain't watching the market. And of course, the futures, for those who don't watch it, opened up hecka green, or hecka red, actually. Let me say that. And recovered overnight. And then we got our economic news, which was hot garbage. Manufacturing was disastrous. The month-over-month retail sales, disastrous. Core came in as expected, sales, so that was decent. And so, once again, but the market, it wasn't about that, right? The market's like, whatever, we're doing our thing. And what was interesting about today, and again, it's my job to watch all of this, but I always tell you, if you don't watch the RSP and the QQEW, you have to put them on your watch list right by the spot in the QQQ. Because it wasn't a huge day today. It seemed like a very enormous, I think it seems bigger than what it was. And it would have been bigger, but the Mag 8 didn't cooperate, right? I mean, Tesla goes down another 6%. NVDIA was red. The Mag 8 was red the majority of the day until like the last couple hours. It finally, started turning green some. But, it was all the other stocks going up. And so that's a big thing. And so remember this right here, and I'll come back in just a sec, but always sear this in your brain. I showed you this a couple weeks ago. This tariff, this trade war cycle. New tariffs we already know about. Market sells off right there. Officials report progress in this, okay? Market tries to rally. Now understand what happened Friday. The Canadian Prime Minister came out and said the exact words. Hey, we're making progress. That's all he said. Very like a tweet or whatever he put out there, and so that's what he said. That's it. Today, Trump talks about late in the afternoon, hey, Chinese president's going to be coming to the White House soon. All right, cool. Right? Or no news. And no news to the market is good news, right? Because we have had a roller coaster of tariffs, retaliatory tariffs on wine, whatever, and then just get silence. It feels good to me because it does get exhausting, just, tweet after tweet after tweet, and, my phone's blowing up. So that was nice. And again, 1 day don't make a rally, 2 days don't make a rally, 3 days we're talking, okay? And we're going to go through exactly what we talked about. Investing should be boring. This stuff should be boring, to be honest with you. But it's just a checklist we've been going through, been covering for, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it's been now. 5-day moving average curling up. SPY closing above it. QQQ closing above it. VIX coming down. 200 moving average, fixing to get tested, that kind of stuff. That's the checklist. All right, and what are we doing? Check, check, not checked yet. Okay, that is key. And that is exactly what we're doing here. Now, we'll look at this right here real quick, and then we'll talk about something. But when you look, here's QQEW, right? Up almost 2% today. RSP. And so these were moving. That means a lot of other stocks, the smaller stocks, right, were moving up. What's RSP doing? It's testing its 200 moving average. QQEW didn't quite make it. But when you look at this and we start scrolling up, and this is what we talked about. Why was the administration so quiet today? Because the 10-year went red. It was down almost 1% at one point in time. It's red. If they're not watching the market, they don't care. But they are watching the 10-year. I'll guarantee it, because they say they're watching the 10-year. Okay? And so that is red. As long as that stays where it's at and doesn't try to break out, I think they'll try to be silent about it and let people actually enjoy, watching their investments go up. We'll have to see. And I told you guys about the bond market. I said, if the spreads start to tighten again, which means this is coming down, and then you look over and you get MOVE, which is the volatility index for the options market inside the bond market, and that starts to come down, and then you get HYG, which is junk bonds, finding the bottom, moving up. What's the market going to do? It's going to go green, okay? And that is what is happening. I've actually never used a moving average on any of these before as far as the bonds, but actually when I was looking at HYG today, I'm like, it actually really likes the 200 moving average, right? It uses support many times. And so what is it doing today? It's closing above its 200 moving average. And for the overall, I zoomed out for you so you can see that move down is nothing compared to what we're talking about. But look at this. I was hoping we would close below 20. We did not, but still, it's moving down. Okay, so it's progress. But you just want to continue to see this drop because it's hard to get a sustained rally when the VIX is up high like this. So you want at least, 16 would be great. A 16 handle I'd love to see. But, we'll see what happens. Now, when you look at SPX here, the cleaner chart, so I'm going to show it. You can see there's the 5-day moving average. It's trying to curl up now. And you can see we closed above it, so that's a good thing. You can see we filled that Fair value gap right there. The 4 hour, we got a gap right above it, which also the top of that gap is what? The 200 moving average. If we continue to go green, and who knows what's going to happen in the futures, I can't tell in that market. We'll see what happens. If we continue to go green, we should be testing it tomorrow if we don't gap above it, depending on what the futures do tonight. I was doing a members video today. We were below this 4 hour fair value gap. I said, that's the draw today. And of course, by the time I even got it out, we'd already gone above it and basically came back down the side of it. But again, you can see there's another 4 hour fair value gap right at the top of 573. That's where the 200 moving average is at. That will be a good draw for tomorrow. Hoping to see a retrace back down overnight maybe, or when we open and getting a discount for some buys. But again, we'll see what happens. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, because right now we're at that trend line. This is the descending trend line I told you about, which I said will be resistance when we got back up to it, because it was resistance for quite a long time. But you can see right there, we crossed right above this level right here, that area right there, got a nice change of character, retested, moved to the upside today. Okay, so that's where we're at. And so, the question is going to be like, at the 200, are people going to be waiting to short, right? Between that 5,700, I guess 57.49 to be exact, or whatever. That is that gap, 200. But are people going to be sitting there waiting to short and try to bring this thing back down is the question. This is where we talked about all the metrics screaming for some kind of relief rally to happen. Whether that's going to be, a real rally, or we just get 2 days, maybe 3, we'll see, okay? And so that's what we're kind of waiting to see play out here. But, again, we go to RSI, we're going to go to MACD, we're going to go to all our momentum indicators. And what you're looking for now, put this on your checklist, okay? So we got the 5-day moving average, we got the VIX coming down. And when you look at the momentum indicators, what you're looking for is the RSI to get above that 50. The MACD is curling up, which is good, has not had the bullish cross, but always go back to your former pullbacks, corrections, and see what happened. You see probably about the 4th or 5th days when you finally got the RSI above 50, you got a positive MACD cross right there, and then we continue to go up another 5%. So that's really what you're looking for to happen to get really a sustained rally going on here. And of course, looking ahead, if we do happen to be able to get above that 200, make it into support again, then you're starting to look for, okay, what happens when we get into these areas where we're setting in a premium again? Okay, is this where the shorts are going to be setting? Is this where heavy sellers are going to try to push this market back down? And a big thing to really ask yourself is, for the first time, we are not the only game in town. I was just telling members about this, where if you look back at our other corrections and pullbacks over the last 3 years, we were the only game in town, right? Bonds sucked, China sucked, Europe sucked, Germany's economy in the toilet, all this stuff. So all the money was flowing in here, right? And where's it flowing now for the first time? We've been going down and they've been going up. All those different countries, indexes, and stocks have been going up during this whole time. And so is money going to continue to flow there? Does that mean less money is flowing in here? Or is that going to end up being a trade and we're going to start to see money flow back in here? Because what did China do? Just announced stimulus this weekend, stuff they've never done before, right? They're throwing everything at the wall. Remember, they've been doing it for months. Germany, we know about. We already talked about the stimulus they're going to try to put out there, okay? EU, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're cutting rates and stuff. And so they're giving the addicts what they want, liquidity. What are we doing? We're doing a reset. We're doing all this other stuff, supposedly the opposite. That's what we got to find out. Like that's really the big thing. The other thing, which I forgot to tell you guys about, is you got Japan interest rate decision, I believe, coming up on Wednesday along with our Fed meeting. And what we're talking about with that is, for years, I guess hedge funds were borrowing money from Japan at basically for free because their interest rates were nothing, and then using it to buy stocks here. Well, now, of course, they raise rates once. If they raise rates again, 0.25% or whatever it is, don't seem like a lot, but when you're multiplying that by billions upon billions, that's a lot of money, right? You got to pay interest on versus you weren't paying that before. So I was able to go into stocks and things like that and investments. So, we'll have to see what they're going to do on Wednesday as well. Not just our Fed. So that's going to be the interesting thing to see if all these markets can start to go back up by themselves, together, because they before 2020 used to do that. And so we're going to get to find out. Now, looking at NVIDIA here, they do have a conference tomorrow. Could be a sell the news event. Let's pay attention to that. Again, this one bottomed out last Monday. Okay, when the market was still going down, it found its bottom and has been rallying ever since. Again, we got to the 0.5 fib. That's where we stopped today. And so we'll see if this is going to be a sell news event and then maybe start to move back up off of that. That's what we got to find out. Don't be surprised. Then when you look at Microsoft, you're going to start to see this in a lot of these stocks, right? The trend line of death, which I talked about over the weekend. It's breaking above that right there. It's been hammered down, as you can see. 200 is way above. And if this does start to move, this is obviously one of the heaviest weighted stocks there is. If it finally starts to get love and move up, you know, doesn't make it back to the 200, at that point in time, that also will put it into a premium area. And so you need these momentum indicators. You need above the 50 on the RSI, bullish MACD cross. And so that's what you're going to be looking for on all of these stocks right here. AMD had a good day today. But again, it got to its trend line of death. If it breaks above this, you can see its RSI is almost above 50. It's already had the bullish MACD cross on the daily, and this one has just been so beat down. And all these fair value gaps right here, these daily fair value gaps, they're going to be the draw. And then 116.43 somewhere in there, 116.20 to 116.43. Like that's where I think a lot of shorts are going to be setting, because obviously it was a supportive area, now resistance when it comes back up. But also you have the 200 weekly moving average right there, if it even gets there. Okay, again, that would be a nice move up. And again, it's sitting in a weekly fair value gap, which is why you might see it go up a little bit slower. It kind of started to take off today and then stop. And so that's been the draw. We're going to see if that continues to be the draw. But again, if we continue to move up, 116.20 to 116.43 is definitely going to be an interesting spot to see if they allow it through that or not. Now, other stocks, right? Another, you ain't had capitulation yet. Stocks like HIMS been holding right here for like 5-6 trading days in that area. And that's not even a support area. That's just trying to flip resistance into support. But you're seeing if this RSI can get above 50, and again, this is a momentum stock, and you can get that bullish MACD curl, this thing absolutely could go. And you can see the level is going to be 42, then 45 on this one. Palantir has been holding up really well. Okay, I mean, look at that thing. And so these are popular retail stocks, been holding up right here. Again, that box right there is a weekly fair value gap. That will be the draw if we continue to move up. Goes at about 95. And we'll see if people are going to try to short from there, or they deem it to be too strong because the market maybe is rallying. Maybe we got above a 200 at this point in time, and they don't want to even take the risk of doing that. The fact that it's held up as well as it has, I mean, that's pretty dang impressive, to be honest with you. So, again, those are two very popular retail stocks. And then when you look at a stock like Crowd, I mean, again, this one bottomed last Monday. It's up like 19% or something. And cybersecurity stocks in general have been doing that. And the momentum indicators, we still don't have the bullish MACD cross yet, getting close to it, still on above 50 on the RSI. But if that happens, then this area up here, the little box right there, it's going to be very interesting because it was resistance for a long time. Then it became support. So can it get back above it between 380 and 395 if we even get to that point? That's going to be the big question. Are we going to get rejected? Okay. Then you look at another retail stock like SoFi. Again, we talked about this one, how if it broke that little box right there, we were heading down. We headed down to the next support, and it bounced off of 200 last week. So technically, it bottomed last Monday and bounced, okay? Very quietly, it's been slowly moving up, but that box will be heavy resistance if this thing tries to continue to move up. Again, it was in a huge discount, past the 0.79 fib, bouncing off the 200 moving average. So perfect place for a bounce, okay? Another very popular retail stock right here. And so we'll see between 13, 14.62 if we continue to move up. Can it get through that or not, okay? And again, the indexes are what really is going to decide if that happens or not. And then, of course, as far as earnings tomorrow, nothing really to talk about. XP in the morning really is the one that's been doing really well. The rest of them, I mean, not really nothing to worry about. And then you look over here at the data, no red folder news. Building permits, housing starts, import prices, which I guess people are starting looking at, and industrial production, maybe. And so, again, no news to derail the market. We'll see if the administration stays quiet again. And if they do, well, we could be testing the 200 moving average tomorrow and see how it goes. So anyway, hope you guys got something out of it. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you did. Think about signing for the membership. That's the McDonald's combo, and that's everything you get with it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another fun one.